Just give me liberty, or give me death.
My name is William Thomas Jr. We have a couple members of our board here from the Improvement League as well. Janelle Johnson, Henry Davis, Henry Johnson, and our longtime member Henry Johnson as well, his son in the back. Again, C.L. Townsend is a member, as well as Ione is a member of the Improvement League. All right, so again, like I said, we're a nonprofit organization. It's been operating in Plant City since 1982, founded by the late Jerry Bailey, who was an educator in Hillsborough County. We mainly focus on a number of entities such as education, economic development, and a couple of noble projects in the community are the African American Museum, the Bing Rooney House, as well as the CSI, Junior CSI Forensic Science Program. We've got middle school, high school kids enrolled in the Forensic Science Program. It's probably one of the kind in the state. These kids attend and compete in statewide level conferences with professionals. In addition to that, of course, we have the MLK.
So you have to keep buying their power. It doesn't make sense. Let's look at, for example, Irma. What happened? A lot of us lost power for days. If we were able to be independently solar powered in our house, we don't lose power. We lose power for a little bit when it's dark out, if we don't have the correct batteries, but besides that, we're back up in a few hours. It's illogical, and it's a government-backed monopoly that I will not support. We, as Floridians, have the right to solar power. Plain and simple.
Questions regarding economic justice. Florida passed a minimum wage amendment in 2004 that stated that workers are entitled to wages that do not force them to rely on taxpayer-funded public services in order to avoid economic hardship. Currently, there are numerous taxpayer-funded services such as health care, child care, food stamps, and housing subsidies, to name a few. The topic of raising the minimum wage and also establishing a living wage has gained a lot of attention in our political life. Question is, what is your position on support for a living wage for Florida? What are your ideas and how might this be accomplished?
Well, for me, on the minimum wage or the living wage, you hear $15 an hour a lot. I think that we have to go back into education and really have a discussion about what we're preparing our youth to be. There's a cultural pressure to send our students to college, incur a bunch of debt, and come out and really put them at a tremendous disadvantage. So I think trade schools, and I'm sure we'll get into education, but preparing folks to come out of school and get into a position where they can make a good living should be a priority. As it relates to increasing minimum wage, I look at District 58. We have a $2 billion ag economic impact here, strawberry and horticultural industry that is rapidly moving away from labor into technology to find solutions. The competition internationally is simply not conducive for American farmers to be competitive. So increasing labor and wages puts a lot of these folks out of business. There has to be a solution that starts well before we get folks that are in a hardship position, prepares them, gives them avenues, and I think education, trade schools is a big step. It could have a very big impact.
Thank you.
Today we live in the richest country in the history of the world, but that reality means very little because most of that wealth is in the hands of a few individuals. 400 families own more than half the wealth in the United States of America. So when you talk about raising the minimum wage, I recognize that fact, that Americans are working hard, they're working 40 hours a week, and they can't even pay their bills. They're living below the poverty line. How is this just? In the richest nation in the history of mankind. I publicly support the Fight for 15 movement because I believe every American worker deserves to earn a living wage. And the greed that we're seeing from the elite, from the massive corporations and their boards, is absolutely unacceptable. It is high time that the American worker earns a living wage. If elected, one way we can make this happen is by combating preemption. The state of Florida keeps stepping in to local ordinances and telling cities, you cannot raise your minimum wage. That's big government. Plant City, Tampa, Hillsborough County, these small governments can decide for themselves whether they want to raise the minimum wage or not. It doesn't have to be exactly 15. It can be 12. Some areas, that's what they need. Some people need more. The point is, the American worker deserves to earn a living wage. I support that 100%.
Well, first of all, I want to explain to all of you one of my points on my platform is raise the minimum wage. Why? Because I can share with you the history what is try to live in. Started making $7.25, raise it to $8.10, get a better job to raise it to $10 and get stuck in $10. I can share with you what is the importance of raise the minimum wage, and right now I can share that the Hillsborough County go to rate property taxes between from $4 to $8 for each $1,000. The question is, who go to pay for that? We, the citizens, the taxpayers. The question now is, how you can do that if the state of Florida only raised the minimum wage 5 cents this year? 5 cents for an hour, when you need to pay around $300 or $400 or $500 more in future taxes. So I believe we need to start doing legislation right now, not like in California, because they go to raise the minimum wage in 5 years from now. We need to start doing a little increase every 3 months or 4 months, helping our small business like that they can have the revenue they need to cover their needs. More money in everybody's pocket is going to be better for everybody in this county. Again, I'm the only candidate for years who advocate for increase the minimum wage, and I got a plan to present in Tallahassee. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, once again, government's the problem. It is not the government's job to tell people what a living wage is and what kind of money you need to make to support yourself. The government is doing handouts left and right, and mind you, some people need assistance, and there's no doubt about it. I'm not for completely eliminating these systems that really do help people get a hand up. When we look at the economic impact of truly trying to say, hey, everyone needs to be paid more, that sounds great in principle. But so does socialism, right? That sounds great in principle. Let's all be equal, hold hands, and dance around. It doesn't work. It plain and simple does not work. So when we try to force companies to pay higher wages, what do we see? Automated tellers at McDonald's. Now those people get paid nothing. That job is gone. What we need to do is let the free market actually work and let the wages dictate what are required. I understand $7 an hour is tough to work on. Trust me, I worked as an oil change technician. It was tough at $7.50 an hour. I get it. I understand. But I worked my way out of it. That's what everyone has the power to do here. So when we sit here and say the government needs to mandate these things and say, you need to live on this wage, otherwise you're depressed and you're not part of society, that's nonsense. I don't believe that, nor do the majority of Americans. We don't believe that you're not worth it if you don't make $15 an hour.
Just give me liberty, or give me death.